I'm from Whiteville, Benoni. That's where I grew up, and I matriculated in 2016. I couldn't further my education because I didn't have an ID then after matric, because my mother didn't have one. So she had to return to KZN and apply for ID for her to apply for both my brother and myself. So I got delayed for more than maybe 3 years, I think, because I got the ID in 2019. I struggled with the unemployment for that period of time. Then I went to work for a living. That's where they taught us about the values, the internal stuff, and how to be an excellent and a good employee. Then after that, I was introduced to Griffin. Fortunately, I was nominated for an internship, and then I went to that internship. I was interviewed, and I passed the interview. Then I secured the job. On a personal level, it helped me to take risk and to be resilient. Then I moved in Centurion. I used to sleep on a mattress for about 6 months, because I didn't know then that Mamiba was going to take me for the internship. On a professional level, it played a huge role, because now I was stepping in a more advanced stage. And it was kind of difficult when I started, because I didn't know much about the computers. So I had to learn those stuff quickly, and I became more professional in that space, and my perspective in life changed. This is the biggest one, because during the internship, I struggled with anxiety a lot. I was very scared. I didn't know what to do. Like, it was so depressing during that time. But the people that were around me were supportive. The reason I had anxiety is because now I was on the stage, and I've never been on this. I've never been given this opportunity. So I had to really perform. And sometimes I just felt like I'm not doing enough. I'm not able to do this. Is just not for me. And all those negative self-talk was there. Fortunately, I had monthly check-ins with Griffin, where they helped me overcome those challenges, and my colleagues were there for me, assuring me that everything's going to be fine. And the place where I moved to, the people around were really supportive, and my family itself was very supportive on that moment. And I think that anxiety stemmed from, I've always been on the sideline almost all my life, and now I'm stepping here in the spotlight where I have to do something, and now I'm terrified. I don't know what to do, because I so identified with who I was, and now I have to change all that mentality, the values, everything. And change is not quite easy, it's difficult. Even now, I still struggle with those issues, but I've improved a lot when it comes to that. It would be the hair. I had this huge hair. I don't know why. And when I cut off that hair, and I felt lighter. When I remember the internship, I just remember the hair, because I had huge hair. But what the most memorable one was getting permanent employment. I was excited. I was really excited, because now this was the opportunity for me to grow my professional life. And it was the first time in my life becoming a permanent employee. The first thing is, I was able to provide for my family. I'm able to provide for my family. I'm able now to cover the things that we couldn't before. And now I'm able to take short courses to improve my skills and look to the future and say, this is what I want to be in the next 5 years. The picture is clearer now. Before, I didn't have a clear picture, but now that I'm here, now I can see there's really hope that I'm going to be something big in the next coming 10 years or 5. There's a lot that has changed, because my mother used to do recycling and myself before I was employed. And now that we got this job, I'm able to send her money so that she could cover the expenses. Now there is something that we can hold on to. Unlike before, where I got a piece job, something that would add, this is the permanent employment. So this changes everything for my family, changed everything. in terms of how I provide for them, and they are really happy with the progress. I would say it's a great start when it comes to internship, because before you start, you don't have the experience, and there's no much pressure unless you put it on yourself when you're an intern. So it's better when you take an internship so that you can grow into this working environment that you are not yet familiar with. So I think it's a great stepping stone to join an internship when you're still young. It is, like I said before, it is really bright. Like I see myself as someone who's going to start a startup, someone who's going to be a part of the business world, where I'm going to change the world with my business knowledge and stuff, but I'm still growing on that point. So that's why I see myself to be a person who plays a huge role in changing the world. It was very introspective. That's a word that I'm going to use. It just have to see yourself from inside, because everything that you put outside comes from what's inside you. So Griffin, with the questionnaires, the interviews, they were really something that touched on you as a person. So it fixed the internal, and then once you take that out, you just take out quality. So I would say the experience with Griffin was life-changing in terms of how I saw myself as a person, even though I'm still working on that, but I have improved a lot compared to where I was before.
Jacques brought 3 candidates on the day. The first candidate was a bit older, had some work experience, and for me almost immediately I could see that it wasn't a fit. The second candidate, I almost made my decision immediately. The guy had the experience, he had qualifications in the industry, and I thought, okay, this is the guy, right? And then I had Mduduzi. Mduduzi was a very, very timid, very shy, very nervous. And near to the end, what I do with all the candidates, I ask them, tell me about your backstory. Who are you? What do you do? And his story was very interesting for me. And the story actually told me about who he was, what his character was, right? And I think at the time Mduduzi was in his 20s, mid-20s maybe. And I thought to myself, how is this? You got a guy at 24 in such an environment, but yet he hasn't succumbed to those elements that you would typically find if you have no other choice. You kind of just go with the flow, right? He wasn't the one on paper that I would have chosen, but something told me this is the guy. I think after that first 3 months, he just started grasping things, right? He just started asking questions, and I said to him, it's fine, I'll sit with you. Let's go to the whiteboard. Let me draw a picture of what it is I'm talking about. So he's got a very good ability to sit and he'll listen, right? So I realize he's very articulate. He takes time to think through things, and that is something we're really starting to see now, where we've given him. He's taken on 2 projects, 2 customers, fairly big customers, and he interfaces with them quite confidently. It is an unfair expectation to expect them to deliver as a qualified resource, let me put it that way. Intern for me it's almost like a handicap if they are always referred to as an intern. So the first thing was say, well, you're part of the team with a certain level of expertise, but we're going to train you and we're going to coach you. I cannot download information into your mind, but you need to be the sponge. You need to ask the questions. And so that, getting that culture going, getting him to understand that it's a safe space for him to ask questions, even if it seems silly. And he started doing that. And in that space, he started to perform a bit better. So for the better part of last year, I've been speaking to the whole team about self-study, right, in investing in yourself. As of this year, when Mduduzi, I think he became permanent in November last year, the entire team enrolled for different programs. And Mduduzi chose programming, so he's been busy with that now for the better part of a year. And the reason why I pushed him is because through learning, you're going to actually improve your work environment almost immediately. And I see this. I see it in how articulate he is in analyzing problems. He'll take his time. So that transition was almost near seamless because he started really contributing to the team for someone that doesn't have a technical qualification. He's supporting two fairly large ISPs as the front line. They're not easy, they're quite complex. Another person is going to be completely different. But there's definitely learnings, I think, from how Mduduzi has done it. I think he had the right attitude, willing to learn. He listened more than he spoke, which is what I like. And I'm not saying they can't speak, but he really, really thinks through things, and he'll come to me and say, I am not sure. Can you explain it again? So attitude, extremely important.
Wow. So we moved from him not talking at all, him not asking any questions, to him being very confident, to him having conversations with customers, and now currently heading one of our top accounts, supporting one of our top accounts. So there's been a lot of movement from where we were in June, 1st of June when he started, to where we are now in November 2024. There was. So I think I mentioned earlier that he wasn't a person that spoke a lot. He didn't ask any questions a lot. So what we tried to do, because we are a small team, we tried to create a safe haven for ourselves, to say, if you're doing good, we see you. We let you know that we see you. And if there's anywhere where you feel you are crashing, you don't know what's happening, we sit down and try to find out, is it a personal issue or is it just work related and whatnot? So with him needing the assistance, I saw a bit of myself in him when we were working with the training, when he was now starting to communicate with the customers. The fear in him was the fear I had when I started working here, because I didn't think that I could make it in the IT department or organization in totality. So he had the same thing. So I had to pull out all my tools with him. I had to pull out the elderly sister tools on him. I had to pull out the senior leader on him. But with time, peeling off the layer one by one, getting him to be comfortable with me, knowing my weaknesses and my strong points, it kind of paved the way for him to be able to open up and peel down the layers and be like, okay, so this is where I'm weak and this is where I'm strong. And where I wasn't able to assist him, that is when the senior leader would have to step in, because she was like the mother. So she would then have to step in. And yeah, we built confidence there. For me, the biggest achievement for him was making permanent. But because the question is focused more on during the internship, for me, that was him being able to converse with our customers. For me, that was the biggest achievement. You could never get a word out of Mduduzi. And for him to sit now with one of our biggest customers and support that customer without myself's assistance or the senior leaders, for me, that is the biggest achievement of all time for him. It gave him hope. So when Mduduzi first started working with us, 10% he believed he could make it, but that 10% wasn't accompanied by hope, right? So when he was granted this opportunity and we received him here at Amoeba, it gave him hope to say, listen, where I come from, everything I've been through, that does not define who I am. And with everything that we learned together, both personal and work related, we always emphasize that to him as well, that listen, you are going places, and he'd be like, no, you're just buying my face. And I'm like, watch and see. So it gave him hope. I definitely would. If you look at the industry that we are currently working in, it's very hard for one to get a job such as this and you don't qualify and you don't have experience. And I think because we are looking for qualifications and we are looking for experience, people that kind of come from where Mduduzi comes from, it's almost like you'll never make it there. You still need to go through school. You might have potential, but you don't have the paper that qualifies you to do it. So I would definitely recommend this to to businesses and companies, because looking at Mduduzi now, I don't think the companies and the businesses itself, they understand what they do in their lives and in these young people's lives. So I would definitely recommend it. The hunger to succeed. he is grinding. Mduduzi is grinding. I remember, I think it was 2, if not 3 months back, when we came in the morning and I had to just give him a nudge, to shout at him a little bit and say, I see you. We all see you. You're doing the best you can. Get some sleep. You log in late at night, Mduduzi is online. What are you doing? When are you going to sleep? So for me, it is the hunger to succeed. I see this boy. He is going with everything he's got. He is going with everything he's got. And I think right now what he's holding on to, he's not giving up. Right now he is not giving up. So if you want to say to Mduduzi that something is incorrect or you're not doing something correctly, you have to go with facts, because he's not going to take it lying down. Prove to him that what he did was wrong and he'll take it. But if you don't have proof, then don't tell him he's wrong. That's where we are today with him.